Hello everyone, welcome back. We are back. I'm so sorry for the absence. Had it quite a long week of things to do and plan out. So yeah, I do apologize for the absence once again. I'm going to try to stay more consistent with the videos, but I'm going to try and do our best next time. Anyways, welcome back. This is Aluminum Tarot. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. For all my American friends, happy 4th of July. It was yesterday. And hope you had some nice barbecue, some good hot dogs, chicken wings, and all that good stuff. And plenty of beer. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. We're going to continue on with the Black Mirror spreads. We'll try to get out all these signs for the rest of the week. We did Capricorn and Taurus last time. We're going to mosey on over to Virgo for this reading. So once again, this is Aluminum Tarot. If you like what you see, please give a like, share, and subscribe. Ding the notification bell so you don't miss any of the updates that take place. And also, be aware of scammers taking place on the internet, stealing people's hard-earned cash by posing as certain tarot readers around. Please make sure that you block them, report them, and so that way they don't get, the chance to rise back up. There's been quite a few of them circulating again. Hopefully this time we can go ahead and nip them in the bud. So another thing is, if you like personal readings, I can be sure to give you one of those if you reach out to me. It's always you reach out to me, not me solicit to you. So that way you can get a decent reading for a reasonable rate, and we'll make sure that you're covered with that. If you're able to send the requests to me and they don't seem to go through, just please let me know with the email, attached in the description box as well. Anyways, that said, we're going to go ahead and get this reading off the ground. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and do the Black Mirror spread for you. This is a spread based on people who have dealt with toxic or narcissistic relationships. We're going to try to peer into, the reading for Virgo for this particular moment. We could say this is for any specific time. It's pretty much not time sensitive, but it's for the last significant relationship that you had that ended up in this type of toxic narrative. Take what resonates, as I'm reading for a collective. Take what resonates and leave the rest for those who need it. It's not going to resonate exactly for each person because this is a massive reading where lots of people will be viewing it. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and carry on. Let's get started. All right, so Virgo, let's see what you got here. What is the Black Mirror spread for Virgo's last significant relationship? What is Virgo's Black Mirror spread for their last significant relationship? What can we learn from Virgo's last significant toxic or narcissistic relationship? What is the lesson in Virgo's last significant toxic or narcissistic relationship? Black Mirror spread for Virgo. What can you tell me, Divine One, about Virgo's last toxic relationship? Stop there. Sun coming out. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that. Let's see what we have to say for this particular reading. So we have the lesson, and then we have cards are not cooperating right now. So then we have how it began, how it progressed, and then how it ended. Okay. So a lot of reversals here, a lot of major arcana. So something significant took place at this time. So we have the initial attraction. Once again, I have a jumpy. So that was the initial attraction here. How did the narcissist, what was the narcissist's intentions? Queen of Wands. How are you, the Virgo, codependent? Let me get this together, guys. Give me a minute. Initial attraction, or codependency, rather. Codependency on your side, codependency on the narcissist side. King of Swords. The narcissist card has come out for your person. Coping tactics. What did you do to cope with this relationship? And for your person, how did they abuse you in this relationship? Okay. When you began to pull away, how did you respond? How did the narcissist try to control the relationship? How did you protect yourself from the hoovering? How did the narcissist discard you? Okay. How did the cycle close out? Okay. A lot going on here. At the bottom of the deck, 5 of Cups. So this is basically a situation where you had to learn how to get over disappointment. You have the 3 of Cups in front of you. This was basically a third-party relationship situation. And you had the 2 of Cups behind you. So what this lesson taught you was basically learning how to move beyond the past and look towards the future. Because, of course, in this card, the person is looking at the left and not on the right, which is the left is usually in the past, straight ahead is in the here and now, and then to the right is the future. So all they have to do is turn around and they had to see what was right in front of them, the 2 of Cups waiting for them for their new life and their new sense of stability. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we see here. The lesson of this entire spread was the High Priestess reversed. This is a person who didn't listen to their intuition when they knew that something was wrong with the relationship. There was something that attracted you to this person that you were in a relationship with, and things did not go according to plan, even though you saw red flags. You may have noticed things about them initially, and I know that people usually talk about in the first 3 months. That is when, you start to see the signs that something is wrong with the person that you're dating, or you'll notice a few red flags or a bit of peeves that, these people project out or they release over time, because the facade can only last for about 3 months. That's according to Rich Locke, who is a very wise person, delivering these tarot messages to the community. Now, that said, you had difficulty either listening to your intuition with this person, or you found out eventually a secret that was revealed. So typically in the upright, the High Priestess is able to hold secrets, and only she knows about those secrets. Now in the reverse, that secret comes out. So We'll find out a little bit what that secret is based on the progression of the relationship itself. The first, we have the world. So the world was how it all began. There was an unclosed cycle that you had with someone else. And it seems to me that you were able to just jump into this relationship, not being able to close out the energies from the previous one. Or maybe this was a past life relationship where the two of you had unfinished business and you came together in this life in order to resolve those issues, whether or not that was trauma, whether or not that was something, a lesson that you need to learn, or, any kind of karmic debt that you had to repay. So as the relationship progressed, you noticed a lot of toxic qualities and you did your best to try to overcome them, but it seemed like it was overpowering towards the end. Now, normally the devil reversed is a decent card because it shows that you're trying to eliminate toxicity. You're trying to restrict yourself. You're trying to get away from the restrictions that the relationship poses on you. So if you found that your person was domineering or controlling, or they did their best to try to prevent you from living, the best life that you could live for yourself, you essentially found ways to circumvent that, and you did your best to get away from the toxicity. It almost kind of shows me a person who did their best to try to change the other person to make them a better person, even though they knew that it was impossible. And I think that plays into the High Priestess reversed here. You weren't listening to your intuition, maybe, when you found that this person had very toxic qualities, habits, they were a bit abusive, and yet you did your best to try to save them. So you played Captain Saver. We're not going to use that word on YouTube. Right. But there's something to think about, because I think in here there was a little bit of ego investment. You may have been particularly a person who thought that you could love someone into the right relationship, that if you just gave them enough love, then maybe they would respond to you a bit better, or maybe they would treat you a bit fairer and nicer. But we're clearly seeing here that that is not the case. So towards the end of the relationship, it progressed into the Knight of Wands reverse. This is a person who began to explore other options, be very inconsistent, or maybe just stop showing you actions altogether. So maybe you found that this person showed you less and less emotion. They chased you less. They gave you less passion in the relationship, and they started to divulge that. They started to divert that energy towards someone else. So infidelity, more than likely, player mentality, more than likely with the person that you were dating at the time. Maybe they didn't show you this, but you found out about this later on. And so in doing that, I get a person who really tried they felt they needed to do their best to fix someone. And yet in the very end, the only thing that came out was that you learned a very painful lesson in not trying to fix people. But if it's broken, you don't have to fix it. You just walk up and leave. The secret came out, and you learned the hard way. This is a person who definitely learned the hard way as to what to do and what not to do in a relationship, rather than trying to make a bad person go good. Just be a good person and leave the bad people alone. Maybe that was one of the more powerful lessons that you had in there. That was what your intuition was screaming at you. Get out of the relationship. But it was something that you refused to do at the time, and it progressed on longer than it needed to. So, that said, initial attraction. What we have here is a person who felt that this was their everything. You felt that you had the Ten of Cups with this person initially. This person was beautiful, smart, attractive, fun, to an extent funny. Someone that you saw long-term capabilities with, and that you could raise a family with, and that they were an emotionally fulfilling person to be with at the time, at the initial point of attraction. You thought you had found your person. Unfortunately, that wasn't their intention. Their intention in the relationship was to be the Queen of Wands reversed, which is a person who was a player. And they were playing the field. They saw you. They're like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And that's how the relationship progressed. Now, for you, the problem with the relationship was that on your side, we have levels of codependency linked to decision making. Now, when you find yourself in these kind of relationships where you feel that, well, this person's beautiful, this person's nice, and then you start to see the problems that come to the surface throughout the course of the relationship, what you then do is you struggle with the ability to decide clearly what to do. Oftentimes, you may just say to yourself, oh, well, maybe I'll give it a little bit more time, then they'll change, and then they'll, be nicer to me, or I can fix this, I can resolve this. But you didn't really see the options that were available to you. You stuck with one wand, which is one choice, one action, and you didn't actually go to the one that you needed to. It's almost like there's a person who didn't see their self-worth, their value throughout the course of the relationship, and they put that value into someone else, an externality of themselves. So you're basing your self-worth on the actions of another person, and that is actually what is blocking you from having a healthy, positive relationship. What you should do is look at yourself, find that value within, and then you can act accordingly. You would have responded completely differently if you had seen your own self-worth. But placing it into another person, that is precisely what led the relationship to progress longer than it needed to, until it came to a cumulative point of view where things just fell apart. Now, on the other person's side, the codependency is that they're a self-made narcissist, and they're manipulative. They need to manipulate. They need to control things with using lies and deception. They're not a very straightforward thinker or communicator. There was a lot of gaslighting. There was a lot of control issues. And this was certainly not a healthy person to be with, because you have the Queen of Wands reversed, the King of Swords reversed. So this is a player, and they're also a narcissist. This you found out the hard way later on. And unfortunately, I would definitely say it's horrible to have to experience that, but sometimes that's the only way we can learn the lesson. And that's kind of the way the universe works. It shows you what you need to learn about yourself through the actions of someone else. That's the balancing act. That's why I call this the Black Mirror spread. It shows you the qualities of yourself that you need to see. These toxic negative relationships are the things that you need to see by allowing someone else to mirror you and to show you who you are not. But you have to learn this on your own by analyzing the relationship. So we come to the next part, which is the coping tactic. Your coping tactic was the Wheel of Fortune. And the way I interpreted this is that you were waiting for the hand of fate to turn around and to change the situation, no matter how bad things got. You stuck in there, but you didn't realize that you were in a stuck situation, and it was actually your inaction, your inactivity that created this situation and made it continue to kind of drag on. You coped with this by telling yourself things like, oh, well, I'll just do my best to get through this. I'll just do my best to make it through the day. Maybe I can do something that will make me feel happy while I deal with this person as well. And then maybe destiny will bless me with, a healthy, solid relationship with this person. And unfortunately, that was a cope. It was not the truth. And it was a bit of self-deception in there. I don't see the Seven of Swords or anything, but to me, it feels like a cope. And it was a self-deceptive one where you told yourself that things would change, and you realized that they were not. That was you, again, not listening to your intuition in all of this. It was instead using the ego and trying to rationalize why you stayed in this toxic relationship for as long as you did. So on the other hand, here, this was the abuse tactic. So looking at the Nine of Pentacles as an abuse tactic, this is probably a person who was financially well off, and they used that to their advantage. So they would take trips, they would live single, and they would, try to show you that, I like having you around, but I don't really need you. As you see here in this card, this is the Nine of Pentacles. This is a person who is definitely, well off. They've worked hard for everything they've got. They've tamed their emotions like the bird on their hand. However, as an abuse tactic, this is a person who basically showed you that you were not valued to the same extent that you valued them. Oh, you're replaceable. Oh, you come a dime a dozen. Oh, well, I'm going to go on this holiday and I'm going to take all these foodie pics and show them to you while you're dealing with the stuck energy right here in the Wheel of Fortune. Perhaps in this particular situation, because they were a bigger earner than you were, you felt stuck while they were actually going out and having the time of their life, traveling the world, showing pics off and pretending that they're single when in fact they were in a relationship. And I think that was what hurt you the most. That's when you got your wake-up call, was just, you felt like, why am I putting all this energy to this person when they don't even treat me like anything other than an option, and essentially treat me like I don't matter, I don't exist, or that this isn't a committed relationship? It's painful. It's very, very painful, because what it shows you is that you're not really valued. The Nine of Pentacles is someone who values their independence, their singlehood, their solitary life. They don't need a person. And I think they made that clear to you as the relationship progressed. That was their way of abusing you throughout the relationship, whether it was controlling finances or just making you seem like you didn't really matter. It's a horrible way to treat someone. So, as the relationship progressed, then you began to see that you wanted to pull away from the relationship. So you started to get into this Page of Wands energy. You began to communicate with new people, started making new circles of friends, getting new hobbies, getting out there, starting to strike your own path. And you're kind of looking at yourself like, well, if you're going to be the Nine of Pentacles, then I might as well be the Page of Wands. I'm going to start exploring new things in life that are going to make me happy. And this is inevitably going to lead me to a place of happiness that I did not get in this initial Ten of Cups feeling that I had with you. So rather than being the Two of Wands, you're now the Page of Wands. You're saying, okay, I'm striking out on something new. I'm no longer going to base my decisions on the actions of this narcissist, who is basically abusing me with their finances or abusing you with their, so-called solitary lifestyle. Single and ready to mingle. Behind your back, of course, because that's what the Nine of Wands was indicating here towards the end of it. They were being single, and then they just then converted themselves and their energy into the Knight of Wands reversed. And you responded to the Nine of Wands by being the Page of Wands. Okay, you're going to do that? Fine. I'm going to go strike out into new territory. I'm going to see what life has to offer, where I can be happy doing my own thing myself. And while they filled themselves with lust, you filled yourself with passion for something new. Now, when you did that, your person responded with the Queen of Cups. Now, Queen of Cups normally is a very nurturing, caring person. Maybe perhaps the person tried to double down and show you a little bit more compassion, show you that they were interested in the relationship. Or what my intuition tells me is that they didn't just started to emotionally manipulate you, gaslight you, tell you that, oh, well, you're striking out. Well, what you're doing is wrong. So you want to go see your friends. Oh, well, you want to go, you want to go out to this party. You want to go to this museum and not invite me. You know I don't like that kind of museum. So it's a bunch of nonsense that they were spouting to you. And you knew it. And that eventually led to the next part. So when you began to disconnect from the narcissist, it broke out into fights. There was a lot of verbal sparring. There was a lot of manipulation. There was some hot-headed things said to one another. So while you were getting hot-tempered, this person was thinking negatively about you. Oh, you don't care about me, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, why would you say those horrible things? It was a vulnerable narcissist way of approaching the relationship that they had to you, because they go from this player energy, treating you like you're an option, but then when you respond back, then it's your fault. It's like the, it's just like, it's always Jermaine's fault in this reading. I see a person who just basically used the emotional side because their cups do not show up until there's conflict in the relationship. Have you noticed? Relationship starts out passionate, cold, detached. They're cold until you respond, and then now they're pouring in the waterworks. They're emotionally manipulating you. They're gaslighting you. And this is a common theme that I saw in the Taurus reading and the Capricorn reading, where that's how the narcissist would respond. They would be cold and unemotional from the beginning. Towards the end, they would manipulate because they know that you're a reliable person. And, if you're an earth sign, then they're going to use water to manipulate the earth sign. If it's a fire sign, they're going to put the fire out by behaving like an air sign. So maybe in the next readings, when I see like a Aries Sagittarius, Aries Leo Sagittarius, then maybe the narcissist may respond more by being cold and frosty and being uninvolved in the relationship. So now here they are. They're discarding you by blaming you, telling you, oh, well, it's your fault. The Virgo wasn't really a nice person anyway. Oh, well, I should have seen the signs coming. And, oh, woe is me. And, you're just a bastard. And, you thought that you could go out there and strike out your own life, even though this is what this person was doing. They were being a player and they were pretending to be single when you were not around. The hypocrisy is strong in the person that you're with. And that, to me, is very indicative of the cards that I'm seeing here. So, to close out this cycle, what you had to do was essentially look at the relationship that you had. How was the relationship to yourself? How was the relationship you had with the person? All of this pain and suffering that was inflicted upon you, you are now at a point where you can shake those swords out your back and realize that it's time to move on. The Ten of Swords reversed is a very good card that indicates that you are moving beyond the most painful dark night of the soul energy that you can find here in this spread. Notice here we have the Ten of Swords reversed and then the Devil. These cards have similar colors to them. You shaking out that toxicity or trying to prevent the toxicity, moving now into a solitary energy where the toxicity all along was within yourself. The codependency that you had dealing with this narcissistic person. You waited, you procrastinated, you tried to make decisions based on the other person, and that left you stuck. But once you began to explore who you were, that's when the fire comes out in you. You go from this cup energy to this fire, passionate energy. This person goes from being cold and detached and single to them moving into their emotional energy. So this is something that you should consider in future relationships. The lesson that you need to learn is that when you know something is bad for you, why continue with it? If you eat something that is toxic, if you began to smoke cigarettes, if you are doing illegal substances, or you're doing some kind of substance that you know has a clear negative effect on your body, why would you rationalize in that situation whether or not it's a good idea to continue with it? The same with a person. If you know this person is a detriment to your mental health, your personal freedom and safety, if they are clearly showing signs of toxicity, why would you keep this person around? This goes really deeply into the fact that you know that your self-worth lies within you. This Ten of Swords, no one is bearing these swords but you. And no one can pull those swords out but you. That Marilyn Manson song that keeps that pops up, I think it was in the song Coma White, where he said, "There's a knife in my back for every day that I've known you." And here we have the King of Swords putting those knives in your back. And it's time for you to let them drop out one by one. Each one of those swords is a lesson, an insight, a clarity that you had to learn the hard way through the progression of this relationship. So yeah, that's what I see here. I hope you enjoyed the spread. I'm still experimenting with it a bit. But once again, this has been Aluminum Tarot. Thanks for joining me for today. So sorry for the long delay. I've had to take a long motorbike trip to kind of, go to a wedding. And also I had to go on holiday for some event for my work. And had a great time, but fortunately it's now time to get back to work, get these readings out. And I plan to do that over the course of this weekend. So if you like what you see here, please don't be afraid to ding the notification bell, like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you like personal reading, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to get that covered for you. I do have strict policies with those, so, I will give those out within a certain amount of hours. That's pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed the Black Mirror spread for Virgo. Thanks so much for your time and attention. I do appreciate it. And until next time, cheers.